Hey everybody, welcome to Tanked Up. We're a beer drinking, video game playing podcast. My name is Ben Nother.
Yeah.
This week, I'm joined by Alex Malpass.
Hi.
You good?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, good man, good. And on special request, or just because he wanted to, we're joined by Adil Kurji. How you doing, man?
Not bad, yourselves.
Good. Yeah?
Okay, cool. So this week we've got some Bristol beers. So it's like a showdown of Bristol brewing things. So we're going to be judging some of the best things we've got available.
As we'd drunk all of our Honest Brew beers, we had to go and get some more. So we thought, as we're in Bristol, what better way of showcasing where we are than drinking some Bristol-made beers?
Fortunately, there's a lot of good beer to drink around here. So.
Good, we're going to be going through those. We're going to be talking to you about the games we've been playing this week. And we're also going to chat a little bit at the end about party games. Rock Band was announced. So we're going to just have a little chat about whether things like Rock Band, party games are still relevant with everybody getting together, sort of local co-op and things like that. So we shall begin with the first beer.
Okay, so we've got... let's just quickly go through it. We've got a Wiper and True Saison. So Wiper and True, big kind of high-quality brewer in Bristol. We've got a new Bristol Brewery Flame India Red Ale. India Red Ale, kind of a random beer type. New Bristol, a bit smaller. We've got the Bristol Beer Factory Southville hop. So Bristol Beer Factory, quite established Bristol brewery. And we've got Arbour, another quite established brewery, with a beer called Why Kick a Moo Cow? Why indeed. Which is a New Zealand pale ale.
Would seem harsh if you did.
Yeah. It would, yeah. No, unless it had done something to deserve it. Which was a deservingly kicked moo cow.
I feel like tipping is what you're supposed to do.
That's true. Tipping a cow is fine.
Yeah. While you're scrumping, tip a couple of cows.
50p?
Depends how good the service is.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's start with the Saison, because it'll be the most sort of delicate flavour before we blow our taste buds with the IPAs. So we've had good luck with Saison so far.
We have
in this show. I think we've had Saison every week.
Yes, we had Partisan in the first week.
Yes,
we
had another one. This is week 4, and I'm not sure
it is. We should probably note down.
It's all on the blog.
Yeah, it's on the internet. It's on
Twitter.
There
are photos. It's happened. It's documented. Anyway, so here's some beers.
So yeah, it is on Twitter, and if you want to see what we've been doing, you can follow us at tankedup_cast. Bam, first natural plug we've done.
Alright, so let's all get some of this.
Excellent.
It's got a nice sort of honey visual.
Yeah.
It does.
A little bit of head.
We find this with the other weeks, just absurd innuendos as well. But it does look very good.
You have brought me on the show. It's not getting any better. But there will be puns. I've been resisting saying...
I don't think we've done too many puns so far.
'Tis the Saison.
So the beer itself has a kind of... got a kind of sweet aroma to it. I haven't tasted it yet, but...
It does.
It's called the Breeze, by the way.
It doesn't quite have a sweet taste to it, though.
No, it's actually kind of got a... I can't tell what that sort of spike of a spice, and I can't quite place it. It's very strong, sort of right at the top of your palate when you sip it.
Yeah, very much.
So it's a Saison, so it's lemony, citrusy, kind of sharp lemon flavour I'm getting. It's nice.
It is nice.
It's good, yeah. I don't think I've ever had a bad Wiper and True. So if you see them, they're not cheap by any means, but top quality beer, and they're never going to go wrong if you get one. I'm not sure what to say about the Saison.
It's nice.
The Saison. It's not over.
It's nice and light.
Yeah, it's
inoffensive.
Inoffensive, yeah. It's not like
not bland, but like not inoffensive. I think you'd be hard pressed to find someone who didn't like it. In that sense.
There's not quite a with some of the other sort of saisons we've had. There's almost been quite a big flavour with it, and you don't quite get that with this. It's quite quite level.
I think that's a Wiper and True. I mean, they probably won't appreciate me saying this, but their beers always have a very finely balanced flavour. But it's never very big.
Okay.
So I think that's a mark of kind of sophisticated brewing, that you don't just have the biggest flavour you can come up with, but even their IPAs are never like blowing your head off with hops. They're just nice hops.
Yeah, good. Right, so we shall start. Adele, we'll go with you first. What have you played this week?
I've played quite a lot of Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
The sequel came out, I think, last week.
Yeah,
And
I
I've
think
been
so.
sitting on Hotline Miami for over a month now since the Steam sale, and so I finally cracked it out and got addicted to the quick restart, lots of deaths, brutal gameplay that is Hotline Miami.
Yeah, it is
fun.
Fantastically brutal.
Yeah, I realized that it's basically the original Grand Theft Auto games, but closer. I think that's how I would describe it.
A little bit more, almost from the GTA game. A little bit more skill is involved.
Oh
in
yes,
this,
but I mean, like, just pure. If you had to describe, how the
Top
visual
down,
is,
yeah.
it's sort of really pixelated, top down, but close.
Yeah, I mean, the art style is very nice.
Yeah,
We say this about a lot of the games that we play, but it's a really nicely, almost mimicking an 80s style, sort of 16-bit
and
game.
the color palette is very neon.
Yeah.
I think this is the first game that all of us have played as well now.
It's certainly the first game that we've all equally enjoyed. Anyway, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's a great game. It's really fun. I really enjoy playing it. It's addictive. And there's skill involved, and there's randomization, but there's also a level of planning and stuff. Like, it's just got good, like, mixture of things going on. I'm not quite sure what the point of the storyline is. Like, I'm just clicking through the storyline.
How far through have you guys finished it?
I haven't known.
No, I'm up to level 6, I think.
Okay, so
I don't know how
it's
far through that is.
so your jacket, as such, random hitman. I'm not sure whether you are a hitman before this all begins. Whether I can't remember because it jumps backwards and forwards quite a lot with a few of the sort of story elements. But there's, I think, the last maybe 3 or 4 levels, the storyline takes a bit of a twist. So you've got that to look forward to as well.
Okay.
So even though it's odd for the story that you think you're experiencing, suddenly this twist happens that it doesn't throw the story that you're playing through out of the window, but it just changes it completely. So
It reframes it.
yeah.
For those of you listening who haven't actually seen or played the game,
You haven't really described it at all.
Well, I said it was Grand Theft Auto 1 or 2, but closer. It's basically top down. You can pick up random weapons. Every level you start off with none. But as soon as you disarm someone, you can pick up the weapon and then proceed to bludgeon them with it. It's very graphic, despite being not so graphic, if you get my drift. Lots of very bright neon blood comes out. Once you've knocked someone over, whether it be with a door or throwing a weapon at them, they only stay down for a handful of seconds. But if you walk up to them and hit spacebar, you mount them and proceed to pummel them to death.
Just cave their head in some
It's nice that
horrible
the
fashion.
way that you cave the head in varies. So sometimes you kick the head in, sometimes you smack it on the floor.
True.
Sometimes if you've got a knife, you can slit the
I
throat.
think I'm pretty sure there is a trophy, an achievement for experiencing every single downed execution.
My favourite is probably when you've downed them and they're bleeding and they're crawling around the level, because they're considered dead by the game. Like if you don't kill them, you still clear the stage. Which, for those of you who haven't played it, you have to basically kill all of the enemies, which is basically all of the people.
We say
on the
kill,
stage.
we mean murder.
Yeah.
It doesn't sort of take that, with something like a Call of Duty, you're just randomly going around killing enemies. It wouldn't be sort of classified quite as harshly as that, whereas Hotline Miami is quite brutal in that regard.
Hotline Miami is not in a war setting. That's the difference, isn't it? You're killing enemies in combat.
True.
This is breaking into houses.
I think part of the second game is because the second game changes that you're not one character, you're a series of characters, so it follows several different storylines in the second game. And I think one of them is set in a war zone in a jungle, maybe or some kind of Rambo-esque type character.
Vietnam.
Possibly. Yeah, I think it is set in the 90s, the second one. So,
so probably not Vietnam.
No, I'm not sure.
Might still be in Vietnam.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
But as far as strategy is concerned, my favourite is still picking up a gun and just using it to throw at people to knock them out, and trying my hardest not to use a single bullet, because the rest of the AI within a couple of rooms will just start charge you, and it's just so much nicer, the feeling of getting through the level where no one suspects anything until the thing is at their forehead.
I've quite like playing it really, really aggressively. So you just charge into rooms where there's like 2 or 3 people, just take a guy out, double bludgeon the next 2 guys, and it's all over in like a second and a half. The 2 people are just walking around and then they're dead. Just like,
you get more points at the end of the stage as well for sort of boldness.
Yeah.
Being able to just run in and
it rewards boldness.
Yeah.
It really does. You have to push. I like that in a game.
Yeah, definitely. But then there's elements of it as well where you sort of need to sit back a little bit and be able to scan the surroundings and know where you're going to go and try and figure out a little bit first what you're going to do. And if you've listened to us before, you know we love strategy. And this game has a lot of strategy in it if you wanted to.
That's true.
And you will die a lot.
Yeah. And that's what's addictive about it, isn't it? That you, it's one of those things where you say, "Oh, I'll just have one more life, and then I'll go and clean up or do the dishes or something,
Or walk the dog."
Or walk the dog, yeah. And then you say that about 17 times, and you realise that an hour's passed and whatever. It's just it's a bit like Super Hexagon for that, saying like, "Oh, I'm just gonna play one more time." Anyway,
and both those games have that magic restart button right by your hand. So easy to just push it one more time.
It is. It does make it a lot easier just to constantly keep playing and have no breaks.
There's no like health bar in it or anything. It's just one.
Yeah, permadeath. And that, I think that's one of the things, is you get such a feeling of accomplishment after a stage.
Yeah.
Because you had to do it without getting hit. Like, that's the only way you progress, is if you could do this stage, quote unquote, perfectly, at least health wise, perfectly.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, I did it.
Yeah. But some stages you play through it and it's so fun that you want to go back and play it again and try and get a better score, try and be a bit bolder, try and do it a bit quicker. But some stages are just so difficult.
Yeah.
You're just so happy that you've completed it that there's no not reason to go back and play it again. You're satisfied at that point, aren't you? You don't feel like you have to go back in. I played it on PS3. And then re-downloaded it for PS4, for PlayStation 4. I've not completed it on PlayStation 4 yet, but I don't know whether I could have done, but I didn't take a save game from PS3 across, which was a completed game. I didn't take that across to PlayStation 4, so I had to start again. And I've probably played sort of similar to what you guys have, up to about the 5th or 6th sort of stage, just on PS4. But I know there's a few games I've spoken about which I keep saying that I will go back to, and it's something that I will play again. But Hotline Miami was definitely one of those games where, as soon as I got my PS4, it was one of the first games I downloaded because I knew that I wanted to play that.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's, I think, £7 on Steam, regular price, and it's sequel.
It's partner.
Yeah.
His friend. Hotline Miami 2.
Yeah. Hotline Miami 2 is, I think, $10.99 or $11.99.
Yeah, I don't think it's much. It's not. They're not massively priced games. So
they're not massively complicated games, so they couldn't have taken them that long to come up with them.
But I've put more hours into Hotline Miami than I have in a lot of games recently.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a serial. I've got game ADD, so I flit constantly between games. And so it takes a certain type of game. Like, if I've played the game consistently, that means something, because I get bored quickly.
Yeah.
Cool. So it's actually been quarter of an hour. We should really be hitting, because we've got 4 beers we need to be doing at least one beer every quarter of an hour, or we're
Okay.
going to be pushing more than an hour.
And we wouldn't want that.
Again,
Trying to make one podcast that's less than an hour long. That's the ambition of this podcast.
we haven't. With the third person, very difficult to do.
Yeah.
With the constant babbling we end up doing, it's
So what beer are we going to go for next then?
Now, I'm working on the rationale that the Saison is going to be the most delicate, therefore it should be drunk first. And the IPAs are going to be the most intense, so it should be
Are
drunk
there two
last.
IPAs?
There's two. Well, there's an IRA, an India Red Ale. It's an India Pale Ale, isn't it? It's just with different malt that makes it darker colour. That's essentially the difference. But those two are going to be more intense. The bitterness on them is going to be higher, so it's going to fade out more slowly, and will tarnish the next beer. So anyway, that's the general rule for, I think.
yeah.
The more
That's sort of
bitter
how
it
we
is.
played it every week, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the right way to drink beer. So, on that basis, then it's the Arbour, Kick and Moo Cow New Zealand Pale Ale next.
So, forgive the ignorance, but what makes something a New Zealand Pale Ale?
It'll be the hops, New Zealand hops that are used in it. So, hopefully it says the hops that we've got in here.
Kiwi, presumably.
So, okay, it's got Southern Cross, Rakau, I don't know how you pronounce it, Rakau, Rakau, Pacific Gem, and Pacific Jade. So it's got quite a lot of different hops in it. But Southern Cross is going to be a cross with, like, another European hop, like a Bramling cross or something. So it's in New Zealand, but I'm pretty sure it's been taken over there. I mean, they all have like a common root, obviously, anyway. They just cross with each other, but I think that's it. The origin of that one. Anyway, nice noise. We love that noise.
Keep meaning to change my text message noise to that.
Yeah. That'll be badass. I like this noise as well.
That'd be a ringtone.
Be so confused all the time, though.
You'd never hear it as well. It would just be like...
You just start salivating. You're like, oh, someone must have called me.
That's how you know. Just get someone else making a cup of tea, and you're constantly checking your phone because you hear something pouring. It looks nice.
Right. It does.
Yeah. More heady.
A lot more.
Similar colouring, though, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Nice sort of light honey. Well, amber honey.
Well, all three. The red ale will be a different colour, obviously. It'll be red. But, yeah, pale ale and a saison will be the same, roughly. It's nice and cloudy. I like a cloudy
It is very
beer.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's very sweet again.
It's also sweet on the nose, sweet on the tongue.
Yeah, it is.
I really like this.
Yeah, it's got quite a complex flavour. It's great. It's like tropically fruity. Don't know how to.
You can have the hops is clearly stronger. You have that bitter aftertaste, but it's not that strong. Just sort of light bitter.
It is.
That lingers, which is kind of nice.
I know it's an obvious cliche thing to say, but I am getting kiwi fruit in the flavour. I mean,
I think it's just your
it
mind.
might be just because it's New Zealand, but I am getting that flavour.
That is good.
Yeah,
It's quite earthy as well.
yeah, I really like that. It's great.
Nice. So, Alex, what have you, apart from Hotline Miami, what else have you been playing this week?
So I downloaded Sid Meier's Starships.
Yeah.
But it wasn't all that I hoped it would be. So I guess for a while I'd been on this chasing a dragon of space games, space strategy games like StarMade, obviously, and I like Civilization, obviously, as I mention it every time we talk.
Yeah.
You even managed to shorten it in this one.
So I thought both of those two things in combination with each other would be great, and wasn't massively impressed with the most recent. What's the most recent?
Beyond Earth.
Yeah, Beyond Earth. And it just kind of seemed like Civ, but with like weird colours and like aliens and stuff.
Yeah, I think we've spoken about it before, haven't we? It almost seems like just a reskin
Yeah.
of Civ 5, really.
So it seemed like I had this image that it would be like different planets, different solar systems and stuff, and you'd be able to set up cities and things like that on different planets, and it would be like when you land, it would be a Civ-style city development strategy thing, but that you'd be able to go to different planets, and it would have that intergalactic, where we fight other starships and stuff. So that was what in my mind I thought the game was going to be like, and it turns out that actually there isn't really any city building. There isn't really any city building in a Civilization game. I mean, there you go. It's obviously.
Oh, it's not a Civilization game.
Well, yeah,
Sid Meier's game.
Meier's game.
Is it not got Civilization in the title?
It doesn't actually. No, that's true. But
it's like Pirates. It's just one of those one-offs.
So it's essentially a space combat game with a Civilization hexagon-style map, 2D map that you can shoot spaceships in, and you do take over control of planets. And in fairness, you can, in a sense, build cities, but all that means is clicking on a button that says "Build City," and then all you get is a little graphic, and it tells you that you've now got more influence. There's no you can't build a granary. That's not a Civilization game if I'm not starting off building my granary and then.
So, given that it's mostly sort of geared towards the combat, is that at least a good thing? Are you getting a nice strategery fix?
Well, it was. I found it very, very easy. I mean, I didn't specifically set the difficulty setting to be. I'd never start a game and then choose to play it on easy. I mean, I would just leave it at the default difficulty setting. But I would imagine a new game, come to play it for the first time, at least after an hour or so of playing it, something challenging has happened. Nothing challenging happened when I was playing it. So I won every encounter I had easily without really thinking about it, and kind of got bored after a while because there wasn't really any. It's like watching a film or something where you kind of someone spoiled it for you, and you know that the main character's not going to die. It kind of removes the tension out of the danger scenes. I just didn't really feel, maybe I won't make it through. Like I know that I'm going to make it through, essentially. So
we were speaking previously as well, last week or the week before, that it's quite cheap, isn't it? As well, it's not a full priced
game,
true. And we were sort of theorising about why that would be, and it's possibly because it's sort of half the game you almost expected it to be, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just rubbish.
It is on sale actually right now.
Is it?
Yeah, the 2K Games is having a giant Steam sale, so all of the Sid Meier's games are on sale.
Don't buy this one. Buy all of the other ones,
except Pirates
or Borderlands or something like that instead.
Yeah,
something that not that you know that you're going to get your money's worth from, because you may never have played one of the games in the series, but
I guess that's a good point. Do you think it'd be a good introduction to this style game, or do you think it's just missing too much of the core mechanics?
You've still got things like researching and
the researching. That's true, but I mean, it's like all of the periphery bits of this type of game without the core. So it's not a great introduction to it because, I mean, you're not seeing. So if you just played this as your first introduction to a Sid Meier game and then moved on to Civilization, you'd be overwhelmed at all of the extra stuff that's now happening in Civilization that you'd have no introduction to with this game. That it wouldn't help you. I mean, it's more like a game where if you kind of like Civilization, but what you didn't like about it was the town building,
the Civilization part.
Yeah, the actual Civilization. Well, if you like the combat bit of it most, then you'll probably like this game. I don't really understand why you would like.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a shame. I find almost with Civilization that the combat is too heavy. That you're sort of almost in the Civilization games, you're almost forced to have some kind of standing army. Whether you want to go out with that army and take over other cities and things, you almost, especially with Civ 5, someone will always appear at your borders, declare war, and try and take you over.
On the like Emperor Plus difficulty settings, the barbarians end up being really viciously difficult to deal with for quite a long time. So there's a lot of military involved in it.
So it's basically a poor man's RTS?
Yeah. So I just, I'm not going to play it again.
That's a shame.
Might as well delete it.
Yeah, make room for
other games.
Yeah. Well, fair. Well, if you don't play one game this week, don't play this one.
Yeah, that's right. If you want something to not do.
Yeah.
If you want to play a game with hexagons, make sure they're super.
Yeah, so Super Hexagon, buy that instead. That's only like £3 or something, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and that's just been playing that a lot as well.
Mm.
It's just a little Twitch game where you have to move a triangle around a circle.
A circle? I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
Point.
essentially it's a circle with a hexagon inside it, essentially. And all you have to do is there's trippy, psychedelic, flashing colours and an amazing soundtrack, which we may mix a bit into this episode if I figure out how to do that. If that might be what happens now, but it might not. It depends whether I get around to doing it. If it did, then I did. But anyway, the soundtrack is great on this. The visuals are simple but addictive. The gameplay is fast and...
So basically, you're a small triangle, and all you can do is you use your left and right arrows to pivot around a central point, essentially, and different shapes start collapsing inwards, and they'll have segments. It's basically like a hexagon collapsing inwards, and there'll be a segment or two missing, and you have to make sure your triangle fills the open space. And as you progress, the shapes change and they go faster.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly addictive, and much like Hotline Miami, you just hit spacebar and you start again right away.
Yeah. I mean, it shows how sort of good the game is, because we spoke about it last week as well. That we sort of jumped to speaking about it again this week. Just shows that it is a good little game to...
I love it.
To get into.
It's something about it I really love. It's really unpretentious.
It's just a core mechanic with great music, good visuals.
Nice. So this week I played a couple of games. The first one was Valiant Hearts, which is a free game on PlayStation Plus this month by Ubisoft. It's been out for quite a while, so a lot of people some people have probably picked it up and probably know about it already. But it's a sort of 2D side-scroller ish. It's kind of not quite a platformer. You move through different landscapes, having to solve various puzzles, and it's set to the backdrop of the First World War. So you're various characters, one French, one American, one German, and one Belgian, I think. And they all have different storylines which intertwine between them. So, for instance, one character, the German, is in a prisoner of war camp at one point, and you have to work out various puzzles to try and get out. And I don't mean sort of complex puzzles. They're quite simple in that you might need to get into a room to pick up. So your ultimate goal on the level is to go and pick up some wire cutters to cut the barbed wire fence to be able to get out of it. But that's guarded by a dog. So then you have to find something to pull the dog away from the door. But the thing that you want is guarded. Say you need to pick up some meat. That's in the kitchen, but then the chef's in the way, and you have to find something for the chef. So it sort of builds on these little puzzles quite nicely. And
it's like a situational puzzler.
Yeah, definitely. And it's quite good because it's quite a simple game as well. Sort of the colour palette's quite nice. It's quite tonal, very very simple. The music in it's really nice as well. It builds the levels really well. It's a very good sort of background to what you're doing, and really brings up the tension in some of the situations that you're in. So it's just a really nice game. If you've got PlayStation Plus, which neither of you do.
I do.
Sure. Oh, do you? Oh, yes, you do. We have spoken about this.
But I only have a Vita in this country. So.
I don't know whether you can get it on Vita, actually.
You can't, I checked.
But yeah, if you've got PlayStation Plus, then you should definitely pick this one up, as it's free at the moment for at least another sort of week and a half. So nice. Yeah, it's a nice game. And the second game I've played is called 80 Days. And it's a text-based adventure game, which I played on my phone. And it's really nice to be able to experience sort of a smaller game in sort of quite bite-sized chunks. You can drop the game and pick it up quite easily when you've just sort of got 5 minutes on your hand, or if you're travelling somewhere. And the whole idea of the game is that you are Phileas Fogg's servant, and you have to help Phileas Fogg get around the world in 80 days. So it's set in a Victorian era world, but with a steampunk vibe. So some of the cities you visit have mechanical lights already and electricity running through. And
I think there's a gaming rule that if it's Victorian era, it has a steam pipe.
Yeah, quite possibly. Got to do something slightly different. But it's nice in you work out how you want to move around the world. So you can say, we're going to take the train from London to Paris. That's going to be the first leg of your journey. Once you arrive... That might not have, even in a steampunk era, I don't think the Channel Tunnel existed. It may have done. I don't remember taking
You can take a steamer from
Possibly.
Dover to Calais.
We may possibly have done that. Being the first leg of the journey, there's so much other stuff that had happened I don't remember. But it's nice that when you arrive in another city, you get sort of the choice to go to a market to sell some of the things that you have, to explore the city, to go to a bank to pick up some more money, to then pay for your next stage of travel, or to stay over in a hotel, to just sort of pass the night. So the next day comes, because only some form of transports will only depart on certain days when you're in these cities. So you might have to stay over in a city for a couple of days before anything's going off to the next place. But if you start to explore a city, you get a lot of dialogue about sort of what the city looks like, obviously in this steampunk sort of setting, and the people in the city and things. And through exploring the city, through the different conversations with people that you have, you discover more routes across the world. So it opens up how you can travel across the world. So suddenly you might find that a route going to another city, you can go a day earlier than the route that you were planning to take. So it accelerates how you move across the world as well.
So how do you interact with it? Does it show you a map of the city that you're in or something?
No, not the map of the city. You get a map of the world, and it shows the cities on there that you've discovered, and it shows any routes that you've discovered moving between the cities. But when you're in the city itself, it's just a little dynamic background with a few of the buildings sort of from the city. I think it's even more limited than a couple of the games that we've spoken about. The colour palette, I think, is mostly blue backgrounds throughout. I think it changes very slightly, but not very much. And they're really well designed. Mm-hmm. And when you do take transport, it pops up in the bottom corner, and sort of the camera sort of judders very slightly, so you know that you're travelling as well. So it brings that in very well. If anyone can hear that, that is my cat meowing in the background, being a prick.
A vicious murdering cat that destroyed a robin earlier today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man, did.
It's a really sweet pair of robins that lives in the bush next to our houses.
Lived,
yeah. I mean,
one of them may still be at large. We don't know.
Yeah, they used to just nip in and out of the garden. A pair of them always together, two of them doing stuff. Now one of them's fucking dead. It's disgusting. What a prick.
But just to finish on 80 Days, I got it for free through the Amazon App Store. Oh. But I think it was only free for maybe a weekend or a week or something like that. But I don't know how much it is. It's probably similar to Super Hexagon. It's probably £2.50, £3. And it is a really nice game, because it's another one that once you've gone around the world in a certain way, it popped up and said you have visited 30 of 115 cities. Mm-hmm. So there's so many different ways of being able to go around the world, and you've only had slight description of some of the cities, so it'd be really good to go back and explore the other ones to see how they fleshed out all of these different cities. So.
And so this is on Android, is that what you said?
I played it on Android. I would imagine that it's on iPhones as well. iOS, maybe. But yeah, I would imagine it is. A lot of the stuff that comes out on Android has already been put onto iOS. So, but yeah, it's a nice game.
That's cool. I think it's time for another beer. It's a little bit behind schedule, but that's fine. We can drink up.
We can.
We have the technology.
We do. Shall we? What do you guys fancy? An India Red Ale or an India Pale Ale?
I have no idea if an IRA would be stronger than an IPA.
In what flavour?
As in,
alcohol?
so I mean, if we're doing this delicacy scale, which one would naturally be next in the ordering?
Yeah, it's hard to say.
I think just from the name of the new Bristol Brewery IRA called Flame, it almost makes you think that it's going to be quite a spicy.
Their beers are normally
taste,
quite like out there. They're a brewery that has big flavours, bold, like creative things. Not like Wiper and True are very like they'll do a style very well, and sort of like designer beers or something. Whereas New Bristol are kind of like crazy beer, like experimental, different type of beer that you've not had before, kind of thing. So maybe we should leave it till last.
Yeah.
With Southville hop now.
Sounds good to me.
So this is Bristol Beer Factory. Not a massivest fan of Bristol Beer Factory. I've been disappointed having been to their brew pub, the Grain Barge, on several occasions. Some of the stuff's nice, some of the stuff's not that nice. And
Just a little hit and miss.
Yeah, I am of the opinion that if you have a brew pub, the beer should be amazing. I mean, there's no excuse for it not all being amazing. That's my view.
Yeah, I suppose to some people it is amazing. Possibly to the guys that brew it, they think that all the...
That's fair.
I would imagine.
It would be very interesting if they didn't think it was
True.
amazing.
Yeah, but
Well, this is kind of piss poor. Well,
Yeah.
but then, I can't believe that the Foster's brewers are sitting there thinking, this is amazing.
Right,
This
but-
Foster's we're making. There's a money-making aspect to it as well. And maybe then...
I think you might be being less charitable putting the Bristol Beer Factory in the same group as Foster's.
Yeah, well, I'm certainly not trying to say that. They're much better than that. And in all fairness, Southville Hop is by far and away their best beer. It's a great beer. So, I mean, I've had this before. But normally I have beers that I've had before on this show. But I don't think either of you have had this beer.
No, I haven't.
Okay, good. So,
I did notice it has some sort of award on the label, though.
yeah, it's got a SIBA award for, I don't know,
National
2012?
Champion 2012.
gold. So I guess they won. Does that mean they won the best bottled IPA of?
Pass.
Because that's a big
Doesn't tell you on there.
award.
It's
That's
a-
what that means.
It says bottled beers gold.
What if there was a platinum award?
That's true.
Oh, diamond.
Exactly.
Who knows?
We don't know.
We don't know what this means essentially, but it's
What
probably...
is SIBA?
That's a nice noise. We love that noise. So this is slightly darker in hue.
That is the word I was looking for before.
Hue. It's a good word. When describing colours, I suppose. It's not always applicable.
Or,
Unless you're talking about Hugh Jackman.
oh, I was going to go with Laurie.
Ooh. Lots of hues.
Hugh Jackman's latest film, Chappie, seems to have done really well at the box office.
Really?
No.
Really? No, I see. I thought that was to go on a completely different tangent to games. I thought that actually seemed quite interesting.
Apparently it didn't follow through with its
Right,
promises.
okay. Because Neil Blomkamp's previous films have been quite good.
Did you like the last one?
I liked Elysium, yeah. So, this is quite frothy again, isn't it?
Frothy.
Frothy.
Oh, that's a very interesting nose.
That is big.
It's a big flavour. Big copy aroma.
There's a Cyrano de Bergerac.
It's a little darker than the previous ones. Not much. It's very hoppy,
Ooh.
isn't it?
But it's very hoppy, but not shotgun to the face hoppy.
No, it's not too bitter.
Yeah,
Like
it's
you-
like an American India Pale Ale style, I think. I mean, yeah, I could probably have a stab at what the hops are without looking, but I mean, there's a lot of
now
cascade.
that you've
in
dropped the gauntlet.
there. Well, there's a lot of cascade in there, I would say. I mean, please have a look, see if it's there. I don't think it will say.
Keep going while he's looking at it.
Yeah, you can. Does it?
Possibly some Amarillo.
I don't know. It says it contains wheat and barley.
Great. But it's like, if you like American beer styles, this is a great example of something that's like that. I mean, that's what they're trying to do.
It is. I mean, it is quite similar to something like a Sierra Nevada. It's not
Yeah.
the same, but it does have a similar sort of
in that neighbourhood.
level almost, doesn't it? Yeah.
It is an American-inspired IPA, and what it says about hops is that they're powerful. And
Pure
the big
power.
malt content is there to balance the massive hop character.
So we don't know.
But
So-
we all like it. It's a good beer.
Yeah. Maybe
it's
Bristol
all
Beer
beer.
Factory can tell us. Maybe they don't want to tell us.
Now I've slagged them off. But This is an excellent beer. That
It is nice.
happily
It's very
drink
good.
all night, so they've definitely done.
Yeah, I know we said about sort of previous beers. This is definitely one of those beers you could drink all night.
Yeah, definitely. It's a classic beer.
It is. So, have you guys played anything else that you want to discuss this week? So I threw 2 out there. You guys a
I
chance?
also did 2, I think.
Yes, yeah, true.
In that case, I'll follow it up with another permadeath, Risk of Rain.
Yeah.
Risk of Rain, if either you haven't played it.
No.
No, I've
It's
seen you play it.
No. It's a 2D platformer where you are about maybe a 12th the height of the screen, if that.
Right.
You're a very small collection of pixels. And it's basically, you start with the commando character, you've got a regular gun attack, a shotgun blast, a rapid fire, and a roll dodge. And the game has increasing levels, but it basically is you have to find on the map a teleporter, and you go and you activate the teleporter once you find it, and then you have 90 seconds to survive a boss attack during this time, wherein enemies will spawn quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And then once the 90 seconds is over, you have to kill everything that spawned. So things stop spawning after the teleporter 90 seconds is done.
Yep.
But they'll slowly start spawning an increasing spawn rate until you activate the teleporter. So
Right.
it's sort of, in fact, in the top right, there's a little egg timer that starts at nothing. And then it says very easy, and as the longer time you spend in the level, the higher that goes. And I finished the first level on very easy, and I finished the first level on hard because I just couldn't find that damn teleporter. And the types of enemies change as well as the difficulty increases. And it's a random boss. There's 3 different types of bosses in level 1, and you have a health gauge and you can level up, but it's sort of. It just pummels you with a lot of going on. So it's sort of Twitch permadeath, some strategy, and just legging it when you need to.
You have to clear your screen you have to kill all of the enemies to be able to.
Yeah, the level doesn't
finish
end
level.
until you. And then there's other things like the enemies all give you money and experience.
Yeah.
And so there are certain boxes throughout the level. Some of the crates contain experience. Just for free, basically, and then some of the crates, it's like $20, buy a power-up.
Okay.
And then some of the power-ups are like health regen over time increases because it slowly goes, but the trade-off is it's so slow that you're just going to be spawning a bunch more enemies, so it's only if you're at like 30 of 120 health that you're going to want to just back off and get some, otherwise it's not worth it. You're just inviting trouble. And it's really addictive, and it's really hard. I've not beat level 2 yet. And a mate of mine who's been playing it off and on for months has not beat level 3 yet.
Really?
Yeah. And they have this multiplayer co-op that I'm curious about, and I think we should try out for subsequent.
Definitely.
It sounds fun.
Is that through Steam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was also sold in a Humble bundle, and still in the Humble store, I think. So I actually own it DRM free on the Humble bundle and on Steam. So I think I'll probably give Alex a copy.
Cool.
Seeing as we share living space, and then see if we can try this co-op, and then go from there.
So we share living space in the sense that you're staying in the spare room at the moment, or in the sense that we are a couple in only because that's only a thing to say because earlier this morning was it when the carpet man came round to measure the
No, we just got Virgin from internet.
You're just both in your pants.
I cannot believe I just followed that up with no. The reason why we have to talk about couples is because we just got Virgin. We got new internet today, and we were both in our pajamas, and they gave us quite a look.
It was just each of us independently happened to have got up relatively soon before they got there.
Yeah.
But it did seem like if I'd said put the kettle on, darling, I don't think the guy would have been surprised in any way. I mean, I don't know if there's anything wrong with that at all. It was just.
It was odd because
not the living arrangement that we were practicing.
But we both got that vibe from him that he was thinking that was going on, but nothing was said, and it was really inconsequential.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyway, that's as an aside. So what was that zombie-style shoot-'em-up game that
Oh.
looked like Doom 2?
Yeah, Killing Floor was free on Steam this weekend.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
And I downloaded it, and it's I thought it's a 2009 co-op zombie survival shooter, first-person shooter, and I thought it was just going to be like Left 4 Dead, and in some ways it is. I mean, premise-wise, but it's basically each stage has 4 waves of enemies, about 30 zombies-ish, depending on the level. Sometimes it increases, right? And then a boss, the Patriarch, I think he's called, or something like that. And then he summons more as you kill him, as you fight him. But you basically need to survive a wave, and then the trader will open her doors somewhere on the map. And you at the beginning of the wave where she'll appear, so you kind of want to kill all the zombies while getting towards her, because you only have a minute and a half to deal with the trader. Mm-hmm. And then you can buy new weapons, etc. And there's classes, and you experience up. I have only played as the sharpshooter with pistols, and I seem to be just fine.
Yeah.
But you have like a medigun, which gives you about 25-30 health over time, but it then needs to recharge.
Yeah.
And you can weld doors shut with the alternate of the medigun, which is like a welder. And it seems like it'd be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, I've only ever played it single player. And as for games multiplayer co-op, it's just not quite the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that we could play some tomorrow as it's free for the weekend, but I've managed to pack up my gaming PC because I have to redecorate.
That's why it's echoey in here.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the other thing, of course, I mentioned Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead's about getting to the safe house.
Yeah.
While Killing Floor is just about killing the zombies when they appear. Because you could literally just stay in the same area of the map and they will come hunt you down.
So is it endless? Could you just continue playing, or is there a final point to a level and you move on to a different?
Yeah, so you survive. There's different modes. There might be an endless mode. I haven't really explored, but it's usually about 4 waves and then a boss fight, and then you spawn a new map. But the new map is random. You seem to always start in the amusement park. But yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
Sounds good. It looks like Doom 2.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Well, it's not
graphically.
that old.
No, but the style, the zombies, like as compared to say the Nazi zombies minigame on the end of
World
of War, yeah, where that looked like it was trying to be a classic zombie film kind of look to it. This doesn't look like that.
Yeah, they're very demony.
Demony, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. So it's more on the Doom 2 end of the shoot 'em up scale rather than, I don't know what scale we're talking about that has demons on one end, zombies on the other. But on that scale,
the reality scale.
What I do like about it is you don't get a crosshair reticule.
All right.
So, like when you have the pistol, you're aiming with the actual sight of the pistol. Although the problem is, as with any game, when I have the option, I always dual wield pistols, and then you can't use the sights. So I've just started to learn what the midpoint is because headshots work.
You work it out from the position of the gun on the screen rather than
like they're here, so I know it's roughly this spot is the thing, but I still sort of do less headshots with 2 guns than I did with 1. Because they don't have that dot.
And I suppose with 2 guns as well, you don't quite have the... Not having the dot means that you don't have the accuracy. But whether there's an inbuilt mechanic as well to drop your accuracy down because you're sort of hip-firing 2 pistols rather than actually looking...
Yeah, and it does have stability, and it does have... you can only carry... Different classes carry different amounts of weight.
Yeah.
So you can pick up a rifle, you find, but that's a lot of weight, and if you're a light character, you can't carry as much ammo or whatever, and so it's got a nice little cost benefit. I'd like to play more of it.
Nice.
Of course, it stops being free tomorrow, but...
See, I never go akimbo anything on first-person shooters, if I can help it. I mean, it always seems to be a bad trade-off. Yeah, extra firepower, but you have to be like within 6 feet of the thing you're shooting at.
I played too much Max Payne 1, I think is the problem.
Just bullet time everything.
Oh, I've played a lot of Max Payne, not bothering with bullet time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's much harder, it turns out.
Strangely.
Yeah.
Good. Right, so we shall move on to our topic, our discussion of the week. But first, we should probably open up the last beer.
Okay, yeah, cool, let's do that. So, New Bristol Brewery. The name New Bristol Brewery sounds like simple, factual description of a new brewery that opened in Bristol.
Yeah.
But the guy, I have met them before, and the main dude told me that actually it's supposed to be a sort of homage or whatever to the New Belgium Brewery, which is like a California new wave craft beer thing. So it's it's not just I mean, it is a dry factual description of what it is. It's a new brewery from Bristol, but it's...
when does it stop being new?
Yeah, exactly. At some point they're going to be... It's not going to... Oh. It has some, like, wax coating and...
and a cap.
Like a bottle of wine or something. Seems a bit over the top to me.
Mostly.
That's usually where you find the cap.
Hey! Walked into that. Oh god, this is going to be completely different to everything we've had so far.
Oof, that is a nice, deep, coppery colour.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely red.
You definitely get the red. Looks nice. Looks spicy.
Yeah, this is going to be totally different.
So it's the more you put in, the darker it becomes.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Alright.
Oh, it's a sweet nose.
That's not what I expected at all.
Yeah.
So this has only UK hops in it. So Aurora, Bramling Cross. So Bramling Cross is what I was saying is probably the originator for the
New Zealand?
Yeah.
New Zealand hop.
For the Arbour.
It's called.
Southern Cross, that's what it was, isn't it?
It's got UK Cascade, which tastes very different from the US Cascade. US Cascade is like the definitive hop of the US Pale Ale, US American, India Pale Ale that you find. But this is going to be very, very different.
It's got a big smell, but taste-wise it's actually quite light. I was expecting it to be a lot bolder, almost.
It's true, actually.
I wonder how much of that is the lingering Southville.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
Maybe.
It may you may find that it's got a slightly different taste in a bit of time when the previous beer has worn off.
It kind of tastes like a brown ale.
It does.
Rather than a red ale. It's like, it's got that kind of, I don't know how to describe the finish, it's sort of, I mean, it's a coppery finish, as well as a coppery, like...
It's also got this sort of more viscous feel to it. Like, I know it's still just as fluid, but it sort of coats your tongue in a certain way. I don't know how to describe that.
It doesn't seem to quite linger as much as the Southville hop did. Doesn't have that sort of hoppy aftertaste as much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not really getting any hops at all from this. I made a...
How surprising.
Yeah, I made a brown ale once, and it was supposed to be a Bath Ales Gem clone.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of tasted like this, actually. And I had like half an ounce of hops in a 5-gallon brew, which is fuck all. I mean, my last one had 9 ounces of hops in, so, not much. And then for an India red ale, I was expecting it to be like the prefix India just means a shitload of hops has gone into it. Which hops did they use? Where did they go? I mean, it says what the hops are.
Yeah, maybe they call it Flame because they burnt it before they got it.
Yeah. Just boiled right down.
So it's not what I was expecting. Not unpleasant, but not what I was expecting.
No, not at all. Not at all. So, we shall discuss party games.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just going to talk about sort of the various different like party games that we've played, whether we think that they're almost still relevant in the kind of gaming space that a lot of people seem to be in at the moment. So Rock Band has just announced that a new, I think it's going to be Rock Band 4, is coming out and will be coming on the newest generation of consoles, Xbox One, PlayStation 4. Everyone's house is going to be filled with plastic guitars again, plastic drum kits.
Do you know they're not doing Wii U?
I don't know. Possibly. I'm not sure. We'd have to.
I'm just because
yeah.
of all the games that could possibly come out on all three, it's so graphics.
Yeah, very true, very true. I suppose it depends on the way that they're taking it, whether they feel that something like the Wii U has the shop infrastructure for people to be able to jump on, which I suppose it has the eShop and stuff, but whether people would just pick up packs of songs and things like that.
I'm sure Nintendo would require that one of the instruments is the giant Wii iPad.
Maybe that's the drum kit. You just have to tap with your fingers.
I was thinking it'd be like the timpani.
Just a lap slide of some kind. But like I used to play the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games all the time with friends. So if we were going on a night out, we would get a few beers in, we'd crack Rock Band out, Guitar Hero, and we'd play sort of 3 or 4 songs all together, with a couple of guitars and a drum kit. But before that, before we had sort of the full band, and before it was released, before when something like Guitar Hero 3 came out and there was only guitars, we just used to have a laugh and watch each other play and try and beat each other's scores on various songs, or just play sort of the songs that we want, and get slightly drunk before going out, stand on the back of sofas, slightly drunk, stand on sofas, play guitars behind our heads, jump off, just have a laugh, really. But it almost seems that the way the game sort of space has gone, that people don't get together to play games as much anymore.
You're talking about the fact that we've got a whole generation of gamers brought up on Xbox Live, where they're the people they play games with, they might never have met.
Exactly, it almost seems like it's a bit more accessible for people to connect and play games together, but not together. You are removed. You're not physically together. You're removed from each other.
Mm-hmm.
So,
is that like? So the idea is that means that there's no room for the party game anymore because people are just...
Well, I don't know. I don't know whether people are almost prepared to get back into that, or whether they're going to rely on people like us who play games with their friends.
Just don't understand these Xbox Lives.
People who play games with their friends, who get together and want to have a local co-op experience, versus people who just want to play with each other over the net. That sounds really fucking dodgy.
So I guess I like that you brought up Guitar Hero 3 being the party game as a one-player experience. I feel like in undergrad and right before we all go out, we used to play all kinds of games that were fun to watch in one-player mode, like the early Grand Theft Autos, like San Andreas. It was so much fun. We played it all the time. One of my flats, we had a projector on the wall, and we just traded the controller. Actually, it was a keyboard and mouse, but you get the drift. And that was our prep for going out, and enjoying, laughing at the silly things we did.
Falling off buildings, not quite sniping someone.
Starmate doesn't really fit into that category. I'll have a quick 3-hour go making a massive spaceship and designing the power structure to be as efficient as possible. Can't really pass the part. Okay, so there's a distinct category of party games that aren't even multiplayer.
And I'm just wondering if, do we need something that makes everyone play like a Rock Band style game, or is it that the people who want to play games with each other will pick more nuanced multiplayer experiences, and the people who want to have a laugh will play whatever?
I suppose people find a game that they like to play, and when they're together, they will just... I suppose it's irrelevant whether it's a co-op game or whether it's a single-player game. They will find the game that they want to play and play it, really, and take it in turns.
But there is something really special about playing a game where everyone in the room is participating together in the same game. I mean, it's cool to watch somebody doing something and you can participate to some extent in, telling them what to do or whatever. But Micro Machines for the Master System back in, 15 years ago or whenever,
You realise that
it's got to be longer than that, man.
the reference, the gaming level reference is lost on most people, but the actual IP the game is based on is just as lost on people. What's a micro machine?
Do micro machines not exist anymore?
What I mean, what are you supposed to say? Like it's like a Hot Wheels but smaller. What's a Hot Wheels?
So it's they. Ages ago, there used to be real toys that people played with that were made of physical matter, and some of them are shaped like very small cars. And I don't know what you're supposed to do with them, but they were called micro machines, and you could pretend that you were racing each other with them. They were rubbish, really. And then the good people of Sega made a game that used micro machines.
Micro machines Codemasters?
Maybe, okay. Yeah, maybe actually.
Yeah.
But what was great about it was that you could have 4 Master System controllers plugged in. Or maybe it was Mega Drive.
I definitely played it on. I played one Micro Machines game on Mega Drive, definitely. I seem to remember driving around a kitchen table.
Yeah,
I totally remember that level.
There was a toilet seat level as well.
Yeah.
It was just basically a big loop. And anyway, the great thing about it was that not only could you play 4-player, but you could because it was so basic. All you needed was essentially 2 buttons, I think.
Yeah.
Like left and right, or whatever. Nothing else. There was no brake or
accelerator. That was like Super Hexagon.
So you could play 2-player. Like there could be 2 people using each control pad. So you'd share with your neighbour. You'd have the D-pad and they'd have the buttons or whatever. And so you could have 8 people playing, and it was great. So like 8, that more or less covers a small. A room worth of
people
all playing at the same time. And there's something really cool about that experience that you don't get over
you don't get that at all online. Like you don't experience, and you can be on sort of TeamSpeak or some kind of chat system where you're chatting to various different people, but you don't quite experience it in the same way as actually being able to high five your friend for doing something really cool in a game. You just don't get that. But with Micro Machines, one of the games, you were able to make your own tracks, and you were able to sort of, show your friends when they all came around to play the game. You would first make them, before playing the rest of the levels, you'd make them play the track that you'd spent however long designing, and all have a laugh over that. So you got to share in that as well as just playing the game.
So yeah, that's probably my ultimate party game. Was Micro Machines.
I think so. I owned a Wii for a time, and it only lightly pushed the dust away when there was a group of people who were of mixed gaming company, we'll say.
Not proper gamers, basically.
Yeah, well, casual and hardcore alike.
People.
Just normal people.
I don't see gamer qualities. I just see people.
I don't see people. I only see gamer qualities.
Yeah, that's fair.
The difference between that.
But yeah, so and it would only be used when like my girlfriend at the time had a couple friends over, and I had a couple friends over, and we'd play something like Mario Party.
Yeah.
But it ended up being so niche. And then when I got Rock Band on the PlayStation, it was like, well, don't need this anymore. And I guess there's still space for that sort of. A few of us want to play games, some of us don't know how to play games, and there is this niche of game type where it's in multiplayer actual multiplayer, but not hard in a way that most
accessible.
Yeah, accessible. Thank you. Yeah.
So Mario Kart fits that bit.
I was just going to say, do you think if you guys had a Wii U, both, living at your place, would you play Mario Kart together?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, and Sam probably would play too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be
played. Yeah, and we'd come over and come and play as well.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact,
every night?
No, but I mean,
do
you play every game every night besides Super Hexagon and Star Rail? Do you like games that... did Sid Meier's Starship disappoint you because it was an S game that you didn't like?
Yeah, probably. That's true.
We were really hoping for Shotline Miami.
Super Sexagon.
Jeez.
All the S's.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there's probably, to go back to the question, I think there's space for just a party game, but it just, whether you need a niche system anymore, I guess is the real question. I mean, Steam just announced their Steam boxes.
Yeah.
So, and their Steam controller they announced a few days ago. So then you would have you could get a handful of controllers in any multiplayer game you could get off of Steam. You could suddenly do the Mario Kart type thing, right?
Yeah, very true. Very true.
I take it all back. Best party game, Worms Armageddon. I don't know how I didn't think about this. Worms. Anything but the Worms golf game. Worms is amazing.
Yeah, Worms is great.
Worms was good, but I don't think it's quite as... It is accessible, but I don't think it's quite as accessible as something like Mario Kart.
No, but the anarchy that results from a new player who doesn't quite know what the fuck they're doing...
Just fire a rocket into the air and kill themselves. Just...
Yeah. Okay, and let me just put this into the fray as well. We need to wrap up soon, but Bomberman is a great leveler as well. Easy to pick up, get the idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Now, there is skill involved, but it's accessible. It's quite difficult as well. It's a great party game.
Yeah.
That needs to be remade. And they don't really need to do anything to it, they just need to bring it into a new platform.
We had back when I worked in IT, we downloaded, I can't remember, I'm going to have to look it up. It was a Bomberman PC, I think it was a fan release, and you could have over 16 people per map, and it was just the most beautiful anarchy. Like, no one would survive, like, only 2 or 3 people would pure luck, survive. And then it became a game of Bomberman and everyone was watching, but because everyone started with participating in the mayhem, and even if you were the best Bomberman player, there's no guarantee that you're going to make it to the end. It was a nice balance that way. I gotta find that.
So we think maybe there is a space for party games still. It might just not be.
But it might just be because we're all quite old.
True.
Yeah, I think the space might not be that big, especially with the young'uns being used to not being in the same room and that being so.
So it is a different market than it was 3 or 4 years ago or even 5 years ago when the last Rock Band Guitar Hero sort of games.
Yeah, I think so.
But when I was playing Bomberman, Micro Machines, Mario Kart, whatever, there was no online play.
I was going to say that was
these games
pre-dial-up Doom.
Yeah, well,
my first telephony multiplayer, and the fact that I'm calling it telephony multiplayer will reveal just how old.
The internet existed at that point, but you were paying by the minute that you were connected. So
you were only allowed on after 7 o'clock.
Well, because your parents needed the phone.
True, yeah.
But no, I played Doom multiplayer before I got the internet.
Yeah.
Because it was direct dial, modem to modem multiplayer.
Nice.
Yeah, more time spent setting up a match than it took for the match to happen.
Yeah, I remember that. Spending an absolute age hooking 2 computers together to both get one to run through the network on the other one.
What do you mean I need a null modem cable? Well, these cables look the same.
Anyway, so on that bombshell, let's. I think we've all agreed that there's still a place for party games these days. Even if young kids don't know what we're talking about, they should.
It might be that they get into them a bit more if there's something quite as accessible as Rock Band or something else.
Teach them to get out of their room
Yeah.
and interact with real people again.
Yeah.
Even if it's still staying essentially inside playing computer games.
Which is the best way to socialise.
Yeah, that's right.
Right, so...
Let's pick a winner.
Yes.
So we had a Wiper and True Saison called The Breeze, followed by the Arbour Why Kick a Moo Cow? Why or how? I've forgotten. Why Kick a Moo Cow?
That does sound quite New Zealand when you say it in a fast pace.
Why Kick a Moo Cow?
Yeah.
That's true actually.
Do you think maybe that's why they chose
Why
it?
Kick a Moo Cow?
Who knows?
Anyway, Why Kick a Moo Cow? And the Bristol Beer Factory Southville Hop and the new Bristol Brewery Flame Red Pale Ale. No, India Red Ale.
India Red Ale, yeah.
So what do we think? Ben, what do you think first?
I'm not sure this week. I really like the Wiper and True. And we've had some... It was a good saison. I'm not sure... it's been quite as good as the previous saisons we've had. So, even though it was nice, and I'm not saying it wasn't the nicest beer this week, but it almost seems like because the bar has been set so high that every saison you have that doesn't meet
bar,
that, just sort of falls a bit short.
So that's just to say the saison bar was set high by the Partisan Lemongrass saison.
Yeah,
which was badass.
And we had a saison last week as well.
Yes, although I can't remember. Oh, is it Brew by Numbers saison?
It was. Yeah, we did have a Brew by Numbers saison, which was also very good. But
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with the Arbour.
Okay.
The Waikiki-Mukau.
Waikiki-Mukau.
It was.
The more you say it, the more it sounds Hawaiian to me.
I
think just the Waikiki sort of thing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
maybe. But yeah, it was nice. It was a really nice beer, and even though something like the Southville hop, I could probably have drunk all day, I think the Arbour was sort of more of a special beer. It's something that you would pick if you saw it again.
Okay, cool. And Addo?
I hate to be boring, but my line of thinking is exactly the same as Ben's. The Wyvern True was good. I described it as inoffensive, but not in a bad way, but at the same time, for a delicate beer to capture me, it needs to hit certain notes, and this didn't quite do it.
Yeah.
The Wyvern True we had the last time we were together, which was not recorded, I found much better, and I can't remember which one it was. Otherwise, I would say drink that one.
Citra.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, the Citra. That was a
Citra.
fantastic beer. The Flame kind of flamed out for me. Southville hops, again, I agree, totally could drink it any time of the day, but I would really, when I saw the Arbour, I'd be like, why don't I kick a moo cow?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tip the scales and say, why kick a moo cow?
I'm going to go with the Southville hop. Because it's just a great beer. It's just the type of beer I want to drink. So I'm going to... but I'm basically going to echo everything else you said, apart from sliding somewhat with the Southville hop. The Wyvern True and the Arbour were both very difficult to pick between. I didn't really think there was that much going on with the Flame.
Yeah.
I think maybe we'd built it up quite a lot just because of the
well, none of
what
us
kind
have
of beer
had
we thought it would be compared to actually what
and
it
it was like I was expecting it to be the type of beer where I was like, ooh, that's an interesting new flavour, and it was like it's that flavour again. I've had that before. It was kind of disappointing.
Yeah, Indian Red Ale sort of not a term any of us have experienced before.
Yeah.
And because of that, it seemed... And it evokes a certain type of taste and a certain novelty, and it didn't follow through with either of those things.
Yeah. I was expecting like the deep kind of maltiness to be like offset by a really strong hoppy fullness. Like I kind of expected like an orangey and deep kind of mixture of those two. But in my head, there's a really good beer there that could be called India Red Ale, and this was just a brown ale. It's like I don't understand where that happened. Anyway, so we've made our decisions. So
the Southville hop and the Arbour Waikiki-Mukau
yeah,
are the two that stood out.
but because there's three of us, the Waikiki-Mukau actually won.
Yeah.
Technically.
I suppose we've never really had a winner.
No.
Yeah.
We have a wiener. Nice. So, that's it. Episode 4. Done.
Oh,
Bam.
hold on.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Free game of the week.
Oh, Maths Challenge 8. Jeez. We did play another game that was...
A free flash game.
It was absurd,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Did you end up playing it?
What game's this?
Oh,
Did I
you
miss
didn't
this?
read your... Yeah. It's... You can't do maths... Simple.
Oh,
you can't
yeah.
do simple maths under pressure.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can't do
That,
simple maths
yeah,
under
yeah.
pressure.
That wasn't a game. That was just maths. That was just.
It had 10 levels. Did you beat
As a
all...
game. I think I got to level 6, and they threw in the element of time.
Time
So
I was okay with.
It's 12:15. What happens if you take 20 minutes off? I'm like, I don't know.
I was totally fine with, it's 12:45. What time is it? 35 minutes from now. But when it said 12:45, 35, 25 minutes before or whatever.
Yeah,
It's like, I can't take time away. What am I, a wizard?
You've just done like 11 times 3, 4 plus 8, and some really simple stuff. And then suddenly it's time. Like, your head just explodes a little bit.
But it is true. Like, you kind of get worked up as the timer gets quicker and quicker throughout the levels.
Yeah.
And
True.
we'll put that link on the Twitter and or the YouTube. I promise you, future free games of the week will be a little more exciting.
Quite possibly. If you can do some excellent maths and you want to tell us about it, you can tweet us at tankedup_cast. You can catch me at Nova_47. You can get Alex by sending him a letter to some random Bristol address, as we do every week.
Finding me on Twitter.
But not finding me.
I downloaded the app for Twitter, so now I'm receiving notifications.
Well, that's halfway.
But I don't know how to do anything on it. I don't know what happens when I go on it.
And you can find me on Twitter at the Omniarch. That's TheOmniarch.
That's definitely a speller.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we have been tanked up. Thank you very much for listening. We shall catch you next week.
Ciao.
Okay, bye.
Why kick a